Hello, Hassler here. So I'm going to go through some of these Pear Deck slides that we will be doing together in class in case you're absent or you would just like to review what we did. The goal for today is to read through a scenario. We are going to set up an equation in order to help answer the question. And after we set up that equation, we are going to solve for the variable in order to answer that question. So it says an emergency plumber charges $65 as a call out fee plus an additional $75 per hour. He arrives at a house at 9:30 and works to repair a water tank. If the total repair bill is $196.25, how long was the plumber at your house? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight some of the important pieces of information. It says the emergency plumber charges $65 as a call out fee. That means that no matter how long they're there, no matter what the problem is, you're going to be charged $65 no matter what. Then it says plus, so that sounds like addition, an additional $75 per hour. It means every hour they're there, I'm going to be charged another $75. He arrives at a house at 9:30, works to repair a water tank. Okay, now it tells me that the total bill was $196.25. And here's the question, and I always like to highlight the question so I know how I'm supposed to set this up. How long was the plumber at your house? Well, anytime I need to write an equation, I need to write a variable to represent what I don't know. I don't know how long the plumber was at my house, so I'm going to say X, and X is going to represent the time the plumber was at my house. Anytime you set up an equation and you're trying to answer a question or find out information, you need to identify a variable and what that variable represents. Because now I can set up an equation using that variable. Now we said $65 no matter what, plus addition, an additional $75 per hour. So $65, that's a one-time fee. So no variable goes with a one-time fee. Plus addition, $75 per hour, and X represents the number of hours, the time the plumber's at my house, okay? And so plus $75 per or times each hour that they are at my house. And that should equal the total amount, which is $196.25. So now I have an equation that would help me find the amount of time the plumber is at my house. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, there it is. The equation is 65 plus 75x equals 196.25. Perfect. And now it says find the value of x and label your answer. So when I like to solve, I always like to draw my line down the equal bar to remind myself that I have to maintain balance on both sides of that equal sign. And the first thing we get rid of is a constant. I'm going to subtract 65 on both sides in order to get rid of that constant. So now I need to calculate 196.25 minus 65. I get 131.25, and I still have 75x on the left side. And I'm going to undo multiplication. I'm going to divide by 75 on both sides. When I do that, I get 1.75. And x, remember, represented time or hours. And so 1.75 hours is the amount of time that the plumber was at my house. So that's the goal for today. Let's do another one together. All right, this time it says Jade is stranded downtown with only $10 to get home. Taxis cost 75 cents per mile, but there is an additional $2.35 higher charge. Write a formula and use to calculate how many miles she can travel with her money. All right, again, I'm going to use my highlighter. And for my highlighter, I'm going to highlight that she only has $10 to get home. That's all she can spend. I know that a taxi costs $75 per mile. That per tells me that that's going to go with a variable. And there's an additional $2.35 higher charge. Again, just like the plumber, that means no matter how far or how long I'm in that taxi, I have to pay $2.35 no matter what. All right, it says write a formula and use to calculate how many miles she can travel with her money. So again, I need to write a formula and I need a variable to represent the question I'm trying to answer. Okay, so I'm going to say M for number of miles. I always like to use variables that represent what I'm trying to find. She only has $10 to get home, so $10 is all she has. And that's going to be equal to how much it's going to cost per mile, 75 cents per mile. M is the number of miles. And an addition plus $2.35, a one-time fee that I pay. So if you remember from last year, the big idea is that I have this constant. That's a one-time fee. And I have this coefficient. That's what gets paid every mile in this case. Or in the last case, every hour. And that's going to equal my total. So that's really how these things get set up. All right, I'm going to rewrite all of that over here so that I can use my steps in order to solve. Again, I like to draw my bar down the middle. The first thing that I need to get rid of is the constant. So I'm going to subtract 235 from both sides. When I do that, I get 7.65 equals 0.75 m. I'm going to undo the coefficient or get rid of that coefficient by dividing both sides by 0.75. And when I do that, kind of out of space here, but that's okay. I get 10.2 equals m. So it's going to take me 10.2 miles. That's the furthest that Jade can travel. If she travels more than 10.2 miles, she won't have enough money. Let's do one more. I want to do this one because some of the Delta Math problems are set up similarly, and I want to make sure that we understand how to work these ones. Aria has a points card for a movie theater. She receives 70 rewards points just for signing up. That to me sounds like a one-time deal. She earns 3.5 points for each visit to the movie theater. That sounds like every visit I get more points. She needs 105 points for a free movie ticket. Oops. That sounds to me like a total. So if I were to go back and label things like I labeled in the last one, this sounds like it's a one-time fee. This sounds like it's every visit situation. And this looks like a total before I can get a free ticket. Write and solve an equation which can be used to determine V, the number of visits, Aria must make to earn a free movie ticket. So they already gave me a variable, V, which is the number of visits. Again, I got my one-time reward as 70 plus. I have 3.5 for every visit. So that 3.5 goes with the variable V, and that's going to equal my total of 105. I'm just going to rewrite that over here so that I have space to solve. Again, I like to draw my line down the middle. And again, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that constant. When I get rid of that constant, I get 3.5v equals 35. I'm going to get rid of my coefficient by dividing by that 3.5. And when I do that, I'm going to get 10. 10 visits. It's going to take her 10 visits to the movie theater before she can get a free ticket. Okay, now your job is to go and complete your Delta Math assignment. Depending on the assignment, you, I think, have 4 problems to do. I would suggest getting out an extra sheet of paper so that you can set up your equation and work through by showing your steps in order to correctly answer that question. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask your teacher.